And you're very welcome along to Trader Chat. 2 weeks to Cheltenham, Flynn, Goward. Can you believe it?
I know it's gone very, very quickly. I mean, when I was just speaking to you, Johnny, just there, you actually thought it was 3 weeks away.
I did.
And you're actually doing a preview night tonight. So at least you managed to know that you're still doing a preview, even if you don't know when Cheltenham is. But it's fast approaching. Actually, on the move Trader Chat today, we're here filming the Cheltenham preview videos. And then we're on to Mayfair tonight for the Cheltenham preview night, which we do in the shop each year with Davey and Tom Segal actually tonight. So should be a good night tonight. But we're here kind of on the move Trader Chat, doing it slightly differently this week.
We will start with football, but just briefly, the handicap in terms of Prestbury Cup, we've had a bit of crack about this because last year I think it was 6.5. This year it's 8.5.
It was so last year because you have to work out the even and odd numbers. When you go with an even number, you can include the draw. So last year we went with 6. We had the draw running, and obviously that got absolutely blown out the water by the Irish winning 23-5. When we're looking to this year, we've gone with 8.5 for this year. So bearing in, if we take any French winner out of the equation, because that can obviously throw it out slightly, that essentially means that if you bet Ireland minus 8.5, then you would need them to win 19-9. And if you were to bet GB plus 8.5, you would need GB to get 10 winners, basically. So that's our line. So I think that's pretty fair. We have kind of nothing to go on in terms of other books or anything. We've done this completely off our own back, and we like to price this ourselves and give ourselves a bit of a test trader-wise. So myself and a couple of the other traders did it, and we all came out around the same mark, to be fair. So yeah, 8.5 is the line. It's 5 to 6 each of two. It's under the Cheltenham Festivals part of the website. And we've also got another special up there as well, which is which day will GB have the most winners? So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I believe off the top of my head that Wednesday is actually favourite. A lot of people might think that that the Tuesday would be favourite. So I've gone 5 to 4 Wednesday, 7 to 4 Tuesday, 4 to 1 Thursday, and 8 to 1 Friday for GB.
What if GB has no winner at all?
Well, dead heat rules do apply, and if they have no winners at all, then obviously it'll be void bets. If you can't bet the winner, you can't bet the loser.
I'm being facetious here. Well, all joking aside, last year I got involved in this bet. I've had this Prestbury Cup bet the odd time. It's a great bet to get involved in because you have an interest in every race, assuming that the bet isn't obviously completely beaten straight away. We will get back to racing now. We'll talk about Cheltenham. What are the books looking like 2 weeks from the start of the festival? But let's start with football. So the Carabao Cup yesterday, I was at the rugby, Ireland and Italy, which was an absolute farce of a game, Flynn, because Italy had a player sent off because of some bizarre rules. They were then reduced to 13 men. At one point, they were reduced to 12 men, and the spread was 40 points, and Ireland obviously covered it coming from the end. But it was all down to the game becoming a complete farce. And I'm not really a massive rugby fan. I've been to 3 rugby games in recent months, and they were all absolutely crap, completely one-sided affairs. That was not the case in the Carabao Cup final at Wembley. Caoimhin Kelleher was kind of the hero, despite the fact that he didn't do that much. He scored a penalty, and then, obviously he was in goal for the missed penalty. But he was a bit of a hero. He's had a great Carabao Cup. What was it like for the firm, though? 0-0 draw, went to extra time, gripping stuff. Liverpool win the cup.
Well, he could have been the hero, but the villain was certainly Kepa. I mean, it was a really, really tough evening for him. It's very easy in hindsight to turn around and say, what were they doing here? Why are they bringing off Mendy, who's arguably one of the best keepers in the world, and they're bringing on Kepa just to come and save some penalties? That puts immense pressure on. I was actually talking about it live to the head of football, Rory. We were in the pub watching it, and I actually thought it wasn't the worst move in the world because it gives the Liverpool players something else to think about rather than just taking their penalty. I mean, obviously it didn't turn out to be that way, and he skied his penalty over the bar. You would never imagine that the keepers would be taking the penalties, but the penalties before that were good, but the keeping wasn't great either, to be honest. They didn't really get close to many of them, did they? Apart from the one hand that Kepa did manage to get to one. In terms of how it was for us in the outright book for the Carabao Cup, Chelsea lost a good few quid, whereas Liverpool were decent winners in the outrights, but then that flip-flopped in the match winner market yesterday, and it kind of balanced itself out, to be honest, as we had Chelsea winning and then Liverpool losing. So it was a bit of a nothing kind of book for us in the end because they did cancel each other out. It's probably the best 0-0 I've ever watched, though, to be fair. It was a peculiar game, so many offside goals being disallowed, so many tight ones. So many talking points from the game as well. So, fantastic game to watch in terms of the Carabao Cup. And we also had some top EU action this week as well, Johnny, with the Champions League and Europa League.
Yeah, and just how was the Premier League for the weekend as well? City kind of rode their luck a little bit. Man United drawn 0-0 home to Watford, obviously a very striking result.
Yeah, exactly. So just in terms of the outrights and where we are now, in terms of how the books are looking. So West Ham and Liverpool are were the main losers pre-season and still are now. City win off small, whereas the field would have won plenty. So if City expectedly go on to win the title, then we'll only win small, whereas the field would have won a lot, which obviously isn't going to be happening. In terms of the top four race, Arsenal being the best backed in the top four market, there would be very solid losers for us there, and they're also now favourites out of the other teams. I will spin through those in just a second. They would be the biggest loser, and then United will be a small loser, and the rest are good winners. So just in terms of the outright markets for the Premier League, that's where we're currently sitting. Just in terms of how we now bet for the outright for the Premier League, 2-9 Man City, 11-4 Liverpool. So Liverpool have shortened in a little bit into 11-4. They're 100-30 when I last spoke to you. Then you're 125-1 bar. I mean, none of them are going to be winning. For the top four, Chelsea are 1-50. Then you're 4-5 Arsenal now, really shortened up Arsenal for the top four finish. Man United are in there at 2-1. They've drifted out from 7-4. 130 Spurs, and then you're 11-1 West Ham and 50-1 Wolves. So they've drifted all the way out now, those two sides. So kind of all vying for top four now. Be interested to see what happens with Leeds now after the Bielsa news, and how it kind of heads for them in terms of the relegation battle. 1-16 Norwich, 1-5 Watford, and then 6-4 Burnley, 13-8 Brentford, 13-8 Leeds. Leeds really shortened in to be going down this season. Obviously, not a lot of faith they're going to get a better manager in than Bielsa to kind of keep them up. Don't forget that we do have the two good offer on the top level football. So if your team puts 2 goals up, we'll pay you out as a winner, irrespective of the result. Just getting back quickly to the Europa League and the Champions League, just so that you know where we stand in both of these markets at the moment. In the Champions League, United and City are both decent losers. Liverpool would be a taker, and the field wins plenty. And in the Europa League, West Ham would be the bogey there, with Sevilla and Porto just behind them. We've also laid Barcelona for decent sums in the shop. That's before the game in the week at around 9-1. I mean, those bets are looking absolutely fantastic for the punters there. If I just quickly put up the Europa League prices, just see where Barcelona sit. I believe they're at the head of the market. Yeah, so Barcelona now 3-1 for Europa League. So the punter got some value there, taking 9-1 about Barcelona. RB Leipzig are 11-2 and Sevilla are 11-2. And in terms of the Champions League outrights, City are in there at 9-4. Like I said, City on the best result. Liverpool are in there at 7-2, again on the best result. 9-2 Bayern Munich, and then you are 7-1 bar. So that's where we sit in terms of the main football competitions here at Star.
You've got to just briefly, you have to have a little bit of sympathy for Leeds, because I think they conceded 40 goals in their last 12, and their defending was so bad. You could see at board level why they might think that, like, Bielsa doesn't necessarily have that much experience in terms of relegation races, certainly not with Leeds. And they do look like they're absolutely crashing and burning at the moment. So I wasn't amazed that this happened.
Yeah, no, me neither. I mean, whenever you watch a Leeds game, you just think that they're going to shed goals, don't you? You just expect that they're going to be conceding. So, not great for Leeds, but it looks like they did get a good send-off from the fans. When he actually left the ground, people were respecting what he's actually done for the club. So, not all bad for Bielsa. I would imagine he would have got decent power, and he's had a decent time at Leeds. But hopefully for the club, obviously being a classic club from back in the day. I remember Mark Viduka when I was younger and all that type of stuff. So hopefully for Leeds, they do get out of trouble. But in terms of liabilities for us, Leeds and the relegation hasn't been a huge one for this year. It's more the top four and the actual winner markets, which have been the ones to focus on.
Yeah, at least Leeds' kind of demise has definitely made the relegation battle, which looked almost dead a couple of weeks ago, with Burnley's resurgence. It is kind of open a bit now, but Flynn goes on about Mark Viduka. When I was younger, Leeds were a perennial Premier League team, and it's kind of hard to imagine how long they've been out of it, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens post Bielsa. Getting to the boxing though, so obviously I'm not a massive boxing fan, but this Taylor Catterall thing was all over Twitter. Lots of controversy here.
It was absolutely everywhere. I didn't actually watch the fight. I've gone back and watched the replays. We had Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall, one of the biggest talking points of the weekend. I mean, everybody went absolutely mental for it, didn't they? The reaction was that it was widely regarded as one of the most poor decisions of all time. And it's difficult with these things when it does just take social media by storm, because normally you have the promoters coming out saying, oh, he should have won, but everybody is just in complete unison that Jack Catterall should have won that fight. And obviously the story of him getting to the fight just adds fuel to the fire, doesn't it? In terms of a result for us, we laid Josh Taylor to win by TKO or KO. So it's not the end of the world in terms of the decision for us, because that bet was already beat. So whichever way it went in the points decision, it was absolutely fine for us. But it's just a really difficult one for boxing. We do have boxing promos on the site as well, so do check those out. And we do plenty of specials on the UFC and boxing, which Tony Pring, one of our traders, looks after, and he kind of peppers the site with them. So do check those out if you do want to have a bet in the boxing, although the scenes of the weekend will want to be persuading you not to have a bet in the boxing, I would imagine.
Yeah, it was a fairly quiet weekend of the racing front. Couple of good cards in Ireland, and we had the Eider, obviously, in England. We had the Adonis as well. A couple of good performances by novices. Win My Wings winning the Eider for the excellent Christian Williams. Very well backed horse, this one, first time cheek pieces.
Very, very well backed. Christian Williams is an absolute fire, isn't he, at the moment?
He's very good. Fire. Yeah,
he's so good. It was a really poor result from us. Like I say, really well backed. I think it opened up around 20. So I opened up a huge price. I opened up around 20, went off around the 13 to 2, 6 to 1 mark, didn't it? So not a good result for us at all. We did run our all over the place offer here. So if you had an each way bet and your horse completed the course but finished outside of the places, then you got your place money back as a free bet up to 25 quid. And there were absolutely loads of finishes
Lovely, yeah.
in the Eider Chase. So we duly did our money on the free bets for the weekend. But
14 finishes out of 16 in a 4.5. that is absolutely astronomical. They must have been all in the offer.
I know, unbelievable. Like, we tend to pick a race where it's going to be competitive. Like, we don't want there to be obviously no finishes. But we tried to pick a race where there might be, I don't know, 5 or 6 outside the places, but having a good 10 outside the places probably wasn't the best predicted from us. But how can you predict that in the Eider Chase? So anyway, that was Newcastle, but we had some decent racing from Kempton as well. Again, Christian Williams winning the feature here. Captain All was really impressive in the feature at Kempton. It was a really good result in the book, actually. It was quite easy to back at around the 13 to 2 mark. It was much bigger on the machine. All the money was for the other Christian Williams runner. That's 5-star Getaway. It was backed into 6 to 1 favourite. It's about 10 to 1 in the morning. Absolutely smashed up. Won at Kempton the last time, but didn't manage to get the job done here. So it's actually a decent result in the book. Captain All going in. Of the other races at Kempton, Orcan Risk was a fantastic result for us in the Dovecote. A really weird market. Shall We Have One More was the favourite in the morning around the 11 to 10 mark. It was actually odds on the night before. Drifted out to 2 to 1. We started seeing some, I say warm money, but some warm accounts coming on at around the 2 to 1 mark. And then we laid a decent lump sum at 7 to 4 and 15 to 8. Shall We Have One More? So that was by far the best backed horse of the day, especially when it got out to those bigger prices around 7 to 4, 15 to 8, 2 to 1. Orcan Risk managed to stand really nicely with Chris Gordon. Was described as one of the best handicapped horses in training a few weeks ago by Mr. Ed Dark, who's one of our senior racing traders. I think he was probably right, actually.
He's 126 rated coming into this, which would imply that he was at least a stone well in.
Well, yeah, exactly. And even before that, we were talking about this. I can't remember. I think he won around Plumpton, maybe. It might have been around that time when we were speaking about Orcan Risk. He's now 14 to 1 for the county. I don't think he has an entry in the Supreme or anything like that. I'm not sure if they'll even go down the county route, but Orcan Risk was obviously the one to take out of the race. And then just one more to talk about from Kempton would be the Adonis, Johnny.
Yeah,
Night Salute.
So yeah, this was a decent staying performance. He found plenty for pressure. I guess just in terms of the triumph here, and in terms of whether or not there's much of a British challenge, it was interesting to see Kepa Arrizabalaga, who was well beaten in the Grade 1 at the Dublin Racing Festival, absolutely bolt up on Saturday, which implies that Vauban is very, very good, which obviously then implies that Pied Piper is the same. But Night Salute isn't bad either.
No, he's not. I do think the Irish are ahead here. Just in terms of this race, the Night Salute was a really poor result for us in the Adonis. It looks like he had a challenger until Teddy Blue just walked through the last, and I thought that Teddy Blue would have got there. We had a big old debate in the office about this because we obviously discussed what price we're going to go after the race for the Triumph. But I thought that Teddy Blue was probably going to get to him the way that he stayed on after he kind of lost his back legs through that last flight. Night Salute is 14 to 1 for the Triumph. Teddy Blue is 20 to 1. Don't believe there is Boodle's entries. Just in terms of how the Triumph is now shaping up, I'm just going to get the odds up for the Triumph now. Just bear with me 2 seconds.
It looks
Vauban will be a favourite. Oh, I don't think even now. I think Vauban's an absolute machine. I really do. I know you have to take Willie with a pinch of salt sometimes when he talks about some of these horses pre-Cheltenham, but the way he was talking about Vauban, the fact that this isn't the season for him, next season he's going to be a proper hurdler. Yeah. The first day when he raced Pied Piper, I thought that he was probably unlucky to get beat. Absolutely crashed into the last, had to switch outside, and was staying on really, really well.
So I think Vauban left-handed.
Oh, not really. I just think he's better than that. I really do. So we bet Vauban is 15 to 8, Pied Piper 9 to 4, 6 to 1 Porticello, Phil Door with top price 13 to 2. As we're here filming the Cheltenham preview video, say Davy Russell will be here shortly, and I'll be asking him about Pied Piper and Phil Daw. I don't know whether Phil Daw could potentially go to the Boodles, Johnny.
Yeah, I'd be rerouting him, to be honest. I don't see in a million years how he can reverse the Leopardstown form, because now, as much as Davy had to force it a bit to kind of maybe take the sting out of Vauban, but Vauban did far more wrong than Phil Daw, and he absolutely left him for dead. So as much as maybe I'd still have a little bit of concern about him going left-handed, but I'd reroute the Boodles, which probably won't be a bad race, but I can't see how he wins the Triumph.
No, well, in terms of the Boodles, he's been given a mark in Ireland of 141. Pied Piper's been given 144. So that rules Pied Piper out of the Boodles pretty much, because they're not going to send the higher rated one there and the one with the more potential. So you think they probably get £2-3 for coming over here, being an Irish horse potentially, but they might even get less than that, being the fact that they are kind of the higher rated. So even if Phil Daw's given 143, I mean, top way to run off this in 141. So there's every chance that he could be going to the Boodles. Hence why we're top price for the Triumph at 13-2. Then you're 14-1 Dr. Parnassus, 14-1 Night Salute. Ikarolen's in there at 20, so we are quite a big price. Ikarolen, I just don't think he jumps well enough, and I think he'll really struggle when we do get to Cheltenham. He's got some engine, but his jumping is novice at best, isn't it?
It is interesting to see what happens to him, because he's definitely progressing as well. So 2 weeks to Cheltenham, Flynn. It is hard to believe. In general, how are the books looking, anti-bulls?
The books we're actually looking in decent shape, to be fair.
Okay.
There are no races I'm looking at where I feel like we've been stung massively on a price. I'll leave the actual nitty-gritty of the liabilities for next week, because we can spin through it then. Yeah. There are a few that we've laid at decent prices and stuff, but none which I'm hugely worried about. John Bond and Dysart Dynamo in the Supreme would be the best back there, just to give you a bit of an insight. In terms of the Supreme, actually, weirdly, we've laid Dysart Dynamo at 16-1 all the way into 4. He's now shorter than that. But there's been talk this morning about Sir Gerhard and Dysart Dynamo potentially rerouting. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on. We are best priced some of the horses that we think they might not go to their certain races. So I believe we're top price. Sir Gerhard in the Supreme. There's a few in the Ryanair, which obviously probably won't be going there. But if you want to take a chance as a punter, then obviously you can. So Enogamy, Shakan, and all that type of stuff. We're top price conflated in the Gold Cup, but we think that he'll probably go to the Ryanair. So lots of horses where they could go to different races. We are top price in one of the races. So do check those out on the website. For 2 weeks to go, Johnny. It's going to absolutely fly by as well, isn't it?
2 weeks to go, unbelievable. And crowds are back. How good is that? Cheltenham without the crowds, just not the same at all last year, but there won't be any tumbleweed this year. It's going to be a bumper Cheltenham, and can't wait. Flynn, enjoy the rest of the day and all the previews and so on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. The last Trader Chat before Cheltenham week. We'll be back then for Trader Chat. I hope we'll be back for Trader Chat the Monday of Cheltenham. 2 weeks away. Can't wait. Talk to you then.